Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, January 12th. Democratic presidential candidate Deval Patrick is our guest this morning, so let's go on the record. The former governor of Massachusetts, a latecomer in the race for the White House. Can he make up for lost time and become a contender for the nomination?
A large field of Massachusetts candidates running for president this year. Can you name all three?
Mayor Marty Walsh bullish on Boston in his State of the City address, but is his city council looking more like a team of rivals? Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu, and our guest this morning is Democratic presidential candidate Deval Patrick. He served, as you know, as governor of Massachusetts from 2007 to 2015, right? 2015. Under President Bill Clinton, he served as the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Division. He's a graduate of Harvard University and Harvard Law School. A, Governor, it's great to see you. B, you look great. How's your wife, by the way?
She's terrific.
That's wonderful. I'm glad.
Cancer-free.
Terrific.
35 years we celebrated in May
35.
last year.
Congratulations.
Yes, how about
wow,
that?
wonderful.
She's a patient woman.
Wonderful.
And she's racking up those frequent flyer miles as much as you are these days.
Indeed. She's all in. She's going to be spending, basically, when I'm not in South Carolina, she'll be there, and vice versa in New Hampshire, which is where we're spending most of our time.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Both you and Michael Bloomberg entered this campaign late.
Later.
Well,
Okay.
late, okay. Later. Both of you believe you're filling a gap other candidates have left open. So what makes you different from Michael Bloomberg?
Well, I'm not a billionaire, even, not just multiple times, but not even once.
Does that influence the way you are coming at this campaign?
Well, I think, he's as everybody knows, he's investing a tremendous amount of his personal wealth in both talent and commercials and so forth. I'm investing my time. I'm talking to people. I'm listening to people. We are up and active in all 4 early states. We're concentrating on New Hampshire and South Carolina, where we have lots of organizers on the ground. We have our first ads up now, and I'm spending my time there in places I think where showing up matters.
And philosophically, what gaps do the two of you fill that may not be the same gap?
Well, he'll have to speak for himself. I think, I remember once saying to President Obama when he was in office that the 2 things I liked least about being a candidate were raising money and bragging. And his response was, get over it.
Have you gotten over it?
So in that spirit, frankly, there's no one else in the field who has the range of life and leadership experience that I do. And particularly experience building bridges to get change that lasts. And I think that's exactly what the country needs right now. We don't need to go back. We need to go forward, and we don't need just to sort of exchange our version of anger and division, as angry as we are justified in being, for what's on offer today.
I know you and I were one time, you were on the campaign trail, and I believe you were in Fall River, maybe New Bedford, but you were on the campaign trail, and you and I walked around, and I asked you, what was something that President Obama said that stuck with you when he said, you said to me, take a victory lap?
Yeah.
He would tell you to take a victory lap.
He would.
So given the fact that it's no secret that President Obama is a friend of yours, is a dear friend of yours, I know that he encouraged you to do this. How did he encourage you to do this?
Well, in fairness, and really, I'm not entirely avoiding your question, but he talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Every single Democratic contender. He has relationships with every single Democratic contender. You can imagine how deep his relationship is with the former vice president, and he, I think, said the same thing to everyone about each other, and he was very encouraging. When we were ready to go more than a year ago. And I called him once when we made a decision to reverse our earlier decision and get in. He was very clear. It's tough. Folks have been at it for a long time. Interestingly, they've been at it a long time, spent many, many months and millions of dollars, and the one who's leading right now is somebody called undecided, 60 to 70% of the vote.
So when you told him that you were going to be running after all, what did he say to you?
Well, I won't get into all of it, but he didn't say you're crazy, don't do it.
Good, I'm glad you're doing it?
He was very encouraging. He's appropriately respectful of the other candidates and his role as the senior-most Democrat. So he'll wait to endorse until we have a nominee, or nearly so.
But
I think that's right.
Out of the trail, where do you find his profile? You know what I'm saying? In other words, there are a great number of people who are running for president who are not named Barack Obama. But yet, when you're out on the trail, How prominent is his profile?
I don't think that you hear. I mean, certainly Democratic activists, if this is responsive to your question, are very, very keen about his legacy, and in fact, I would say the electorate generally. But this is now, not then, and times are different today.
Let me ask you very quickly, when you called him to tell him that you were going to be running after all, did he agree that you would be filling a gap that that existed right now among the other candidates?
You know, what he said to me was, in effect, I thought you were the most compelling candidate from the beginning. And then he talked about just how hard it is, and this is competitive, and he is going to be respectful of the process, and I am.
You talked about how you hate fundraising. However, you do have to raise money.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your PAC, Reason to Believe, and you accepted large donations from folks with ties to big corporations to help you set up your current
You talking about
run
the PAC
for
that was
president
up
before you decided
don't call
to
it
run.
my PAC, because I wasn't.
Well, it was done for you, and it was done by all your people that worked for you at some point or another.
And a real source of frustration, because I didn't even know it was happening. I learned about it the day they announced it.
But the money helped you set up your campaign, and some of your opponents, like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, say they won't take money from big donors. Are you going to do the same for your presidential campaign?
Well, we're certainly, I don't know what you mean by help me set up my campaign, but
get your name out there, prep for what you thought was going to be a run back then.
Right. So some of that work we have to do all over again, because it's a year past all of that. I'm not going to accept corporate donations. I'm not going to accept money from corporate PACs. I have heard, I don't know, and I'm not being cute, that there is a PAC being developed dedicated to our campaign and our candidacy. We can't coordinate, obviously, so I don't know what they're up to.
Glad to have their help.
You bet. Yeah, I mean, I wish the rules were different, but I
But
can't.
you'll do fundraisers where you'll have large donors come in, like many candidates are, but Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders said they will not.
Well, to their great credit, they've been running for years, and they have developed, in many cases, or at least in one case that I know of, from those very same types of donors, the ability to reach out and cultivate. Through name recognition, smaller dollar donations. If I had the time, I'd prefer to do that.
So let's hit a couple of issues pretty quickly, kind of like a lightning round. Let's start with single-payer health care. You are opposed to it, that's correct?
No, I'm opposed.
Okay.
I'm opposed to universal health care.
Okay.
I think the next step should be a public option. I'm fine if that public option is Medicare, but I think there's a value in having the sort of creative tension between private insurance and a public low-cost or no-cost option, because I think the private insurance market will figure out a way to compete for all the folks who move in that direction. That puts pressure on system costs. That's good. And I think the pressure to innovate on the Medicare side is important too, because frankly, if you qualify for Medicare today, and you can, most people will buy a supplemental insurance policy on top of that, because Medicare doesn't go far enough.
Wealth tax, is it a bad idea? A wealth tax?
It's not where I am, because for me, the problem, I think for most of us, the problem is not wealth, it's greed. And I think having a more broad-based, progressive, and simplified tax system is a better idea. I also think we should raise the estate tax back to where it was. What was 55%?
55, yeah.
Before the last change, past two.
Are you ready for the OTR pop quiz?
Oh dear.
This the governor said
Ready
this
or
was-
not, it's happening.
This was his favorite part when he was governor. Anyway, come here. All right, here we are, the pop
You
quiz.
always hid it in your pocket.
That's right. And we were walking down there, he's looking at my pocket. All right, pop quiz. You were originally from the south side of Chicago. And so was
That's true.
That's true.
Okay,
You're
what's
one
the
for
second
one.
question? Right.
You're one for one. So was Bad Leroy Brown. And oh, by the way, if you'd like to belt out a couple of bars of it while we're here, it's fine. So here's your question. Who sang the song? Was it Kenny Rogers? Was it Jim Croce? Was it Huey Lewis? Bad Leroy Brown.
Could it wasn't Croce, was it? Was it?
What? You answered the question. It
Okay.
was.
Well, she nodded. Thank you.
Well, after you said it, I wasn't giving him
The
hints.
song
Honest
hit
to
number
goodness,
one
I
in
wasn't.
July of 1973. At Harvard, you were a member of the Fly Club, which is an undergraduate literary society, as was former Governor Bill Weld. Another member was a former Supreme Court justice. And who was that justice? Was it Felix Frankfurter, Hugo Black, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr.?
Ooh. Wasn't all of the above?
It wasn't all of the above.
Was it Frankfurter?
It was C. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. FDR and Teddy
Are you
Roosevelt
looking
were
over
also
there for the
members of the
answers?
Flight Club.
No, it's just the options are only on the screen.
So I'm confused. Are you 1 for 2 or 2 for 3? I'm not quite. We continue with Governor Patrick in just a minute.